Colombia, a country that borders Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, Brazil and Panama, has a population of 41.008 million people, but it's a country that's supported by China. This means it's going to be an enemy of the American state. And this month, at the very end of it, it invades Panama. Welcome to episode 12. A new communist government in South America. So last month, the Chinese vice president visited Colombia and gave supplies. At the time, this was not a major event until the first, when news reached the US that troops were massing along the border with Panama. This led to a conference on the 2nd in Yaviza, less than 100 kilometers from the Panama-Colombia border, between Peruvian Prime Minister Mirta Vázquez, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, Ecuadorian President Guillermo Lasso, Joe Biden and Panama Vice President Jose Carrizo. All three nations agreed to help each other and America if Colombia were to invade, and also agreed to destroy the nation if they were to win, giving Amazonas, Vapuras and Guayana to Peru, Putumayo, Cuatita, Cauca, Nariño, Julia, Valle del Cauca, Tolima, Quimbo, Bogota, Cundinamarca, Cáliz and Risaralda to Ecuador, Mita, Guaviare, Casner, Arauca, Vaquita, Santander, Norte de Santander, Bolívar, Magdalena, Aclinto, Cesar and La Guida to Venezuela, and Choco, Antioquia, Cordoba and Sucre to Panama. The three nations also agreed to the Visa Pact, becoming the first nations of Vedota, standing for allies in the defense of the Americas. The pact is open to other nations on the 8th, with Brazil, Jamaica, Argentina, Mexico, Canada and Paraguay getting an invite. One of Vedota's terms, though, is that when another nation close to an ally is invaded, then the other members of Vedota have to come to their aid. On April 10th at 5:15, an American soldier, Jackson Menace, is sitting gun ready, waiting in case the invasion is today. The sky above him is red, not blood red, but dark red. The air feels like it's the dead of winter, which was about 5 months ago. Suddenly, he hears gunshots, not that far away, and cries of invasion and bugmen, which is what the Americans call Colombians. As the other men wake around him to more gunfire and mortar, they realise that Colombia has done what the Americans have feared for ages. They have invaded Peru, and the war, which will become known as another bit of the Third World War, begins. Immediately fighting begins all over the Darien Gap. Panamanian Second Army, led by Lea Armenta, comes under the worst strain, having to fight both 3rd, led by Hudson Q. Wayne, and 5th Pedro Gonzalez armies. Meanwhile, American Second Army John Hudson is attacked by 2nd Army Mia Wolf, while 4th Army Andres Revel is attacking Panamanian 1st Army Matthias Sinclair. The battling takes place for 4 days before the Allies retreat on April 14th. Despite beginning to win the battle, due to hearing that Peru was ready to invade and that would catch the Colombians off guard, as the Americans preempted the enemy would try and exploit this. Moving away from Colombia and back to Taiwan, which has been the focus of our podcast for a long time, the American 5th Army continued their assault on Houston 10 by capturing Asu on March 15th, Mount Chien on 17th, and Nyeunton on the 18th. The Americans stopped attacking in the north though, as they suspected the Chinese might counter-attacking the area. It's the 1st Infantry who's been attacking in that area already dig in. Hunter Biden command your Fifth Army also knew the Chinese would be very defensive near Taipei, so held offensives on it till he could find an outflanking route that could work, so he held the line till he figured it out. In the south, Feng Peng was lost on the 16th, Feng Lin, 21st, Ming Chen, 1st, Chi Chi, 2nd, both bridges over the Dunda, which are circled on the 2nd and 5th respectively, and Chu Tang on the 10th. In Korea, which we haven't mentioned for a long time, the North Koreans are gearing up for a new offensive and are aimed at blitzkrieging the South Koreans. As the South is distracted by the election which Xu Wei-chang has easily won, it could easily be successful as well. And finally, this is a quote from Lorenzo Cruzado, Panamanian Prime Minister before the war began. Over the last few days, we've hosted Venezuela, Peru, Ecuador and America, and have agreed to join an alliance which is determined to succeed in making America a better place, while also hoping to deter aggression from Colombia. I hope this works. Thank you and good night. Please remember this is a parody, and anything that people find misrepresenting is only done in the aid of entertainment. If you want an episode deleted, please email callumw-d@outlook.com. We also try not to anger the peoples of nations and people we've named in this podcast. Some people's names are made up, so any people's names, including some of generals, will be made up, and we are hoping not to anger people by detailed misrepresentations of people who are real. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Goodbye.